He's a thief.
I mean, money. I've got nothing.
So I had 2 rounds of auditions. And my conversations with Richard, who's the director, were more about the time that they lived in and what Albie's sort of background might be. So after the second audition, and the offer came through, which I snatched as soon as it came through. I then had the opportunity to read Joan's memoirs, and like I would highly recommend anyone take the opportunity to read her upbringing. I think what it did was I keep saying like I'm an 80s child, so I had a certain depiction of the 80s through the music and through TV series or films that I would have watched, but getting the opportunity to really see what the 80s was like at that time in Britain, it just allowed me to sort of feel like I was landing Albie in a real place. And so reading about Joan um in those times up until the point when we started filming, you it's yes, she was an incredibly attractive woman, like aesthetically, but you really got a sense of the strength of the individual that you were dealing with, and why she was such a formidable force. Like, I think it would have been very easy for anyone that had been through her upbringing to sit back and give up or just kind of run the normal lines of life. But she has such an incredible strength, that I think sometimes even she doesn't notice. And I didn't actually get the opportunity to meet Joan until we had the premiere here in London, um, which, which is interesting and kind of allowed me to just create a relationship with Sophie and her Joan as the character. But yeah, then you get I definitely had the chance and wanted to take the chance to give Joan her flowers once I met her. Yeah. So about the script, definitely the family element that they put in. And when I say family element, I mean the love and drive of a mother for her daughter. The decisions that we see Joan sort of take up during the series, you can question. But at the heart of it, in her head, she is trying to do better for her daughter and maybe create a family or a family unit that she didn't necessarily have. Then within that, you get the opportunity to create a person like Albie. As the thing is Joan and Boise, real people. It's in the memoirs, and with me, there was kind of a freedom to try and create this individual, but the fear that I still want to land them in the same time period and same place as these other characters that we see. Um, in that, the fun was listening to the music. We used to watch like videos of like club nights at the 80s. So you see the hairstyles, you see the outfits, you listen to the music. But then also like watching certain films and documentaries about that gray area, that criminal underworld of London at the time. And yeah, thinking how Albie would fit into that. He's not your 9 to 5. He's also not your gangster. So what is that bubble that they live in? I think I think like I said before, you've got the why as to why she gets involved, which for me is, wanting to create that unit, that family unit for her and her daughter. We see her with Gary quite early on and making a decision that it isn't necessarily best for her and her daughter. And then she bumps into Boise. And I think there's always that thought of how do I include my daughter in this? Um yeah, but then also on top of that, I think you've got as I said, like you've got the 80s, you've got the loud costumes, you've got the unforgettable hairstyles, you've got the incredible music, but then it just looks very extravagant with all the jewelry and the traveling and everything like that. And I think all of that tied in together, I think that's why Joan has had, quite a positive feedback. Is incredibly enigmatic when as a person, and able to transfer that onto the screen. Um, I think there was a definite admiration for myself personally for the work that I had seen her do both in and Game of Thrones and on the X-Men film series. So then you want to bring your best to set. Um, and she was just very open to conversation. I saw her taking on notes from Richard, and I saw how there's a playfulness there with her, which is always lovely to have on set. I think those two characters in particular, they're more similar to each other than a Boycie and Joan. Like they enjoy the extravagance of it. They enjoy the gamesmanship. So, creating this, like be it, you know, sham I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers here, but like the game of getting away with being a good thief. I think they enjoy the the game of that, and they have a equal admiration for it, and they're both as good as each other. And I think that creating that with her was nice because you see how it ties in at certain times, but then you see how it knocks against each other. And if someone's also able to sort of lean into that and enjoy that with you, it just makes the experience much easier. Yeah. We had myself and Richard had discussions about what Albie's upbringing might have been. So we had discussed things of him being in, social housing or sorry, social housing isn't the right phrase. Coming up through the can't remember the phrase, but the system. I don't want to waste time. But like
Foster system. Foster
yes,
system.
yes, thank you very much. So coming up through the foster system and not quite having that family unit for himself. Also then him that leading him into whatever kind of criminal element that he was, and then him and Boycie spending time together inside. So creating that bond that we see them lean into once they're on the outside and sort of make the best for themselves. I think sometimes you're able to deal yourself certain cards if that's the life you have, but I think sometimes you have to make the best of the cards that are dealt to you. And I think Joan and Albie are definitely those individuals. I feel with Albie, he's created this ability to be very good at the gab. He's very good. He's a great talker. He's also quite smooth with it. But also, he's not physically intimidated, so he can look after himself. I think there's an admiration, like I said before, of the game of getting away with something if you can do, and I think he's very much that type of character. We see it with the way he interacts with women, and then we see it in the way that he interacts with an opportunity to basically take something from someone else that it might be of financial gain. So yeah, he's an incredible character to bring to life.
I'm a thief.